DSU investigators uncovered taxpayers are now footing the legal bill for a New Orleans attorney charged in some high-profile tax fraud crimes.
Her name is Nicole Burdett. And what makes her stand out? Well, she's the former law partner of the new district attorney Jason Williams and a co-defendant in his tax fraud case. WDSU investigator Travers Mackel digs deeper into concerns over taxpayers footing the bill for her high-profile defense attorney.
The prices for lawyers assigned to people deemed indigent or unable to pay for an attorney are set by the federal government, and it can range from $155 an hour all the way up to $197 an hour. The lawyer assigned to defend Burdett by the Public Defender's Office is one of the most well-known criminal defense attorneys in town, but she's not paying for it. You are. So if right about now you're asking yourself, how does that happen? Well, we have something of an answer, but a lot of the details remain sealed, meaning you and I may never really find out why. Burdett is licensed by the state bar and in good standing to practice law in Louisiana. And court records show that in recent years, she's handled about a dozen cases in civil court and a few in federal court. But despite that, she's recently been declared indigent, unable to pay for a private lawyer. She's charged in two cases. The first involves an 11-count indictment where she and her co-defendant, Jason Williams, are accused of conspiring to file a false return for Williams. In the second case, Burdett is accused of filing her own false tax return.
Some lawyers make a lot of money. Some lawyers make not so much money. And a lawyer who's under indictment in federal court herself, her practice is probably suffering pretty good right now.
But even if that's true, how does Burdett get public help in paying for her lawyer?
There could be some people still scratching their heads as how does someone who appears on the surface to have a healthy revenue stream get a public defender?
Harry Rosenberg is a former U.S. attorney in New Orleans and oversaw prosecutions in tax cases.
The system is predicated upon the constitutional right for counsel of an individual charged with a serious offense.
Meaning Burdett needs a lawyer to represent her. But the public may never know why Burdett was deemed indigent. That's because the records she had to submit to the court laying out her financial hardships are sealed. Federal Magistrate Judge Dana Douglas made the decision in late December after reviewing Burdett's finances. Is she bankrupt? Deeply in debt? With mounting bills and expenses? All unknown. Longtime defense lawyer Pat Fanning explains.
That's a decision that the magistrate makes. I can understand why some people think, well, it's taxpayer money. We ought to be able to look and see whether she really qualifies or not. On the other hand, apparently in the Eastern District, they think she's got some privacy right there. So they protect her privacy. It's a tough situation.
We took our questions to Loyola legal ethics expert Dane Cialino.
Should they be public? The public's paying for this lawyer, so perhaps one can make the argument that the public should have a right to see why they are paying for someone's lawyer.
Court records show that after Burdett was deemed financially unable to employ counsel, she was assigned Mike Magner and his law partner, Avery Pardee. And here's the catch. Magner, a former federal prosecutor, was Burdett's lawyer months ago after she was indicted and she was paying him. After she claimed she could no longer afford to pay him out of her own pocket, the court assigned Magner to represent her as a public defender.
One way of looking at it is that her attorney got all the money he could out of her, and now he turns to the taxpayers to pick up the rest of the tab.
Magner is on what's called the Federal Criminal Justice Act panel. What that means is this. If the federal public defender has too many cases or has a conflict, private lawyers are then assigned to represent criminal defendants.
So it's very common to see these private panel lawyers handling cases by appointment in federal court.
But getting the same lawyer doesn't always happen. In this case, federal prosecutors didn't object in an effort to not delay the trial any further.
Most lawyers aren't as rich as people think they are. Lawyers make a decent living, but most aren't rich. And the cost of putting on a defense in a federal criminal trial can get very expensive very quickly.
All right, so in a written statement, defense attorney Mike Magner told us in part, quote, Ms. Burdett is innocent of the government's charges and is looking forward to her day in court. The cost of defending oneself can be difficult for even middle-class people to bear, especially for a mother of 3 children, and most defendants are appointed counsel by the federal court after a review of their financial statements.
Ms. Burdett was able to pay for private counsel for the first indictment. For the second set of charges, though, the federal judge reviewed Ms. Burdett's income and obligations and determined that she qualified for appointed counsel under the Criminal Justice Act. This is not unique to Ms. Burdett, end quote. Hey, it was a great